what if you could build a modern desktop application, build it on Windows or build it on Mac, and then deploy the same application on a Linux machine, or shall I say a very low powered Linux machine, maybe Raspberry Pi for that matter? Well, this is what we are going to do today. We are going to build an application on Windows, a very basic bare minimum Uno platform application on Windows, test it if it is working correctly on Windows, and then deploy the same application on a Linux machine, which in our case is going to be a Raspberry Pi, full blown Raspberry Pi desktop operating system installed on it. But before we start, I'll like to list a few possibilities when you build with Uno platform. Well, Uno platform, what I have seen so far, what I have researched so far, it is currently the only production ready desktop framework that allows you to build native .NET applications and then deploy them across Windows, Linux, Mac, iOS or Android, and all that from just a single code base. I mean, you might have to write a few platform specific code at a few places, but that's going to be very minimum. So in this video, I'll build and install an Uno platform application on Windows, publish it for a Linux, and then run that same application on a Linux machine, which in our case is going to be a Raspberry Pi. And by doing this activity, we'll be able to understand how seamless it could be to do a cross-platform application development in 2026. All right, so with this said, with this context set, let's jump into the video and let's start building. Now, we are on our Windows machine today, and this is a very basic Uno platform application that is targeting .NET 9 framework. And let's start this application and let's see what it does. Okay, so it is building now, and yes. So as I said, this is a very basic application, the one that comes out of the box, and it has got this first page, says Harshit Dynamite, please subscribe. And this is the second page that we get. Okay, so bare minimum, okay, nothing fancy over here. And this is a very basic application. I'm going to close this. So this is how my application looks like. All right. So now we have built it, and now we are going to publish it, but we are going to publish it for an ARM64 Linux architecture. And how do we do that? So there is this command over here. Oh, don't worry about the command. I'll put a document in the description. You can refer to that. And let's go to this folder over here. This is my Linux app, and this is my project folder over here. Let's come to this place, and over here I'm going to open PowerShell. And I'm going to build this. So if you look at this command, it says .NET publish, and then publish it for the .NET 9 desktop target platform. Publish it for a Linux ARM64 target in the release mode with, and it should not be a self-contained package. That means the .NET Runtime will not be packaged along with this. And let me hit enter. And what this is going to do is it is going to publish my app for the Linux ARM64 architecture. So let it give it its time, and it shall publish the app for me. Okay, so the build has succeeded, and it should be available in bin release desktop Linux ARM64. So if I go to my bin folder, then release and .NET 9 desktop and Linux ARM64 is there, we should have a published folder. And this is the actual folder which contains the files that are required to be kept on the Linux machine, and we could run it from there. So I should have a my Linux app over here, and you see this is kind of a snap package, I believe. So it says my Linux app. So usually these are snap packages, but I don't really see anything. Just says the type is file. Okay, so never mind. But this is the set of files that I need to put on my Raspberry Pi in order to run this app over there. Now, so our app preparation is ready. Now we need to set up our Raspberry Pi. Okay, so I'm going to show you the setup I've done for Raspberry Pi. But before that, I'll tell you that on my Raspberry Pi, I have installed the Raspberry Pi OS 64-bit version. Okay, this is the operating system. Now, how do we get that on the Pi? We use a flash card, we use an SD card, and we flash the operating system on that. And then we put that SD card into the Raspberry Pi. So if you are not really sure about the process, there is one more video I've done on this part. I'll link it in the description, and you shall also see it somewhere on the top of this video frame. Okay, but now let me show you the setup I have for my Raspberry Pi. Now I do not have multiple cameras, so I'm going to use my phone and record it and show it to you. So let me open my phone and let me start the recording. So you see, this is my Raspberry Pi over here, and if you see, it has got, this is the power supply and it is up and running because of this green line you see, and this is the micro HDMI cable, and this is the mouse and keyboard. I've attached that to a USB, through a USB, and then this is my keyboard, and I've got a mouse, and then this is the actual monitor that is connected to the Raspberry Pi, and we can see that it is running a Linux. And this are the stats of the CPU right now. Everything it has 0, so nothing is actually taking any memory. All right, so let me pause this over here. Okay, all right, so now I need to send this set of files on my Pi. Now how do I do that? So I'll go back to my PowerShell over here. I'm going to say SSH and my username for the Pi, and then this Raspberry Pi.local is my hostname, Harshit is my username. I'm going to hit enter, and that shall take me or SSH me into my Pi. So let's wait for a couple of seconds here, and it is asking me for the password. Now I'm going to enter it, hit enter, and now you see I'm inside the Pi because I get this Harshit at the Raspberry Pi. All right, now I need to copy my files onto my Pi. Now there's a command I've built for that, and okay, but before that, now I've already tried this thing once, and I realized that because this is not a self-contained package, I'll have to install the .NET Runtime on my Pi. Now this is the command that will install .NET 9 Runtime on the Pi, and then we have to set the path variables or the environment variables on the Pi, and I've done that. I did that using these two commands over here, and then I had to reload the profile for the changes to get into effect. So now if I run .NET -- version on my Pi, I would see that I've got 9.0.308 .NET Runtime on the Raspberry Pi. Cool. Now I need to transfer the files to my Raspberry Pi. So in order to do that, I will come back to my project folder over here, and I'll open another PowerShell. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this scp command over here, and I'm going to bring it here and hit enter. Now this shall ask me for the password. So I'm not going to hit enter now, but I'm going to start the recording on my Linux or on my Raspberry Pi so that you can actually see the files getting copied over. So just allow me a second, guys. Okay, so the screen recording has started on this place over here on the Pi, and if you see right now, I don't really have anything inside home, Harshit, and it's all the usual folders that we get in the Pi. And over here on the Windows machine now, you see I'm going to copy this to Raspberry Pi home, Harshit, and my Linux app. So now if I enter the password, let me enter the password now and hit enter, and we'll see that files are getting copied over. And on the Linux machine, if you see, we get this my Linux app folder, and things are being copied over here now. So let it run. Okay, so the files have copied over completely now, and now it's time we can actually run this application. So we had this PowerShell already running using the SSH. So I'm going to run this application now. I'm going to cd into this path over here. This path is a little incorrect. I'll have to. So the path is cd home. Let's say it's this, but the path should have been cd home Harshit, and Okay, let's make it small. Harshit, my Linux app. And now let's copy this. Let's cd into that. So it says this is not present. Why? Okay, so now I'm inside my Linux app directory. What next? Now I need to make this file as executable. So if we look at this this Raspberry Pi screen over here, so and let me open this my Linux app. So this is the file that we are actually supposed to. This is my application file, and this is actually the file that will be running our app. So we need to make this file as an executable for the Linux. And how do we do that? So I'm going to come back to my Windows and I'm going to copy this command over here. Again, it should not be this, it should be my Linux app. And I'm going to copy this, come back here and hit enter. So now this file has been marked as an executable and we can actually run it. Okay, and now I need to tell my Raspberry Pi that, if someone is asking you to start an application, then you use the primary display that you have got. So when I say export display 0, then 0 means the primary display that you are connected to. I'm going to hit enter again and it's happened fine. And now we can just run this thing or this my Linux app, and the moment of truth has finally come and we should now see the my Linux app starting up on this Linux terminal or on this monitor over here. Let's see, let's hit enter. Okay, yes. So I can see the app starting up over here and it looks to be working just fine. Harshit Dynamite, please subscribe and let's hit enter and let's go to second page. And yes, so the app looks to be working just fine. All right, and now if we want, we can kill the app or whatever we want, we can do it. And if I look at the task manager, so my Linux app is this, and because we are hardly doing anything, it is not taking any CPU, right? Yeah, so it's not really taking any CPU, and the memory also used is just some 1 GB out of the 8 GB. So we are doing pretty good on the Raspberry Pi side. But if I touch this component over here, it is pretty hot. Yeah, it is hot. Okay, cool. So this is how we can seamlessly run our Uno platform app, build on Windows and then deploy it on a Linux machine. So for me, I have this thought that it has become so seamless to build your application at one place and then deploy it at several other platforms. And maybe this was one of the very use cases that people are picking up Uno platform for desktop application development. I believe MAUI does not have this capability yet. WPF, of course, we know that it cannot run on multiple platforms. It is just Windows. Avalonia UI has something that has started coming up, or maybe it has been there for some time, but I'm not sure. But even that also cannot run on a Linux machine. So this is a very exclusive use case that Uno platform is doing. If such is your use case also, then please add a comment, tell me about your use case and what challenges did you face when you were trying to build a Uno platform application and then deploy it on Linux. Okay, and I would really, love to hear your thoughts on this. All right, and if you want to follow along, I would urge you to please like this video if it helped you in some way. And if you really want to be a part of journey, please consider subscribing to my channel. It will be a pleasure to have you along this journey. Okay, so until then, you have a good day, you have a good new year, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.